I'm Calvin Kramer, and I'm from Camp Brook, South Dakota, and I'm currently 22 years old.
I'm Amanda Wentz, and I'm 21 years old.
I'm Luke Burke-George. I'm from Aberdeen, South Dakota, and I am 21 years old.
Gosh, and the idea, I'd like to say it originated last summer briefly at the Brown County Fair. I just saw some vendor kind of set up, and I saw people lined up for a long time, and to be honest, I never even thought I would get into something like this until later on. And then I found myself about halfway through the school year. I was late one night after work, and I just laid in bed trying to figure out what can I do better, what is better than what I'm doing right now. And so I started to think, why do I have to be employed? Why don't I get on the other side of that? So that's when I really started to kind of dive into this idea. From that point, I just kind of went through a couple of different scenarios, different ideas, because really when it came down to is how can I work more effectively and make more money at the same time. I'm originally from a smaller town, and my parents own a small grocery store. So on the end of the product side, I've got quite a bit of knowledge on that, how much things were going for. So that's why I thought it was pretty great what this other guy was doing. I hadn't seen anything like it in South Dakota. So I guess when I say numbers, it's that I knew the costs that he had going into it right away. And the only unknown variable was the costs of things that I didn't know, such as entry fees into events, cost for payments, cost for travel, stuff like that.
After Calvin first had that idea, he came around to a few of his friends and started telling us about it. He goes to Walmart and gets this little deep fryer. And then a few friends and I go over to Calvin's apartment this one night, and we just start experimenting with the oil temperatures, frozen cookie dough versus raw cookie dough, like the thaw, different batters to try dipping it into. And from there, it's just all he wanted to do was experiment and try again and get it perfected.
Without them knowing it, my second job, asking them about the product, because I knew it was popular. It's for the last, I'm pretty sure it was 5 years, might be 6 years now, in a row. It's been in the top 3 for the Minnesota State Fair, most purchased dessert items. So I knew it was popular somewhere in the US, and I knew that South Dakota really didn't have this kind of an idea, this kind of a dessert item yet. So I decided I'd start asking people, and a lot of people thought it was sounding great, incredible, and it is. It's a delicious treat. But at the same time, connecting it between those people and actually out in the field was really the next big step, like you said. So I guess the answer to the question is how we got it from the next step, from perfecting it to actually selling it, is just doing it. One of the things that I like the most about this group is that we're all learning. This is a huge learning experience for all of us entrepreneurially. At the end of the evening, after that day's event, we would all gather and we'd talk about what went well, what didn't go well, what we could do better. Just kind of in an attempt to always make the process a little bit easier and make the next step, happen a little bit quicker. Really, the best thing that I could say with how did we start selling it to people is we just did. We went out, we exposed them to this. And people, you get a lot of different reactions. A lot of the times, people really enjoy new things, and with this being a new thing this year, it's shown to do very well.
Well, I'd say our first gig was Fort Sisseton.
Yep.
And I guess Calvin got told that the campers there, they could start coming in Wednesday and Thursday, then everyone will be there, yada yada. So okay, well, we gotta get there early Thursday morning, gotta get every person that walks by, we need to get them some cookie dough, we need to sell them something. Kelvin's always been like that, no matter what. Someone is gonna want cookie dough at 8 in the morning, right? So we gotta be there. So we get there, I guess around 8 in the morning. We wanted to set up, so we have this tent, and we would take everything out of this van and put it in there, and it's the whole process. And of course it starts drizzling, raining on us, then it starts raining a little bit more. We're like, no, we're gonna go right through this, we're gonna set it up no matter what, because we want that 8 a.m. cookie dough. So then it gets set up. It's all good. We're sitting under our tent with our fold-out chairs because we knew it was gonna be a hurry up and wait situation this first time. And we don't see any other vendors coming out. We're not sure what's happening. Then some of the Parks and Rec people are like kind of scooting around in their go-karts and kind of looking at us strange a little bit, like come and stop and like, hey, do you need anything? Like, yeah, we're just setting up Cookie Monsters. It's like, okay, that sounds good. Like, are they walking up? Yep. Okay. Then we're like, well, where is everyone? We were told there's gonna be people here. It's like, oh yeah, they come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They just kind of come, but the real thing is Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
That's when everyone seems to come out, and that's when the events are. So we're sitting there at Thursday at like 10 in the morning, like, oh, I guess we don't need to be here for another 2 days. But we did sit up again on Friday, and we got a little bit of a lunch rush. Then dinner. By that time, all the other vendors had set up. And then, see, we know now that get all the information.
Yeah. Being at Northern, I had a lot of resources to work with right away. A lot of my friends are art students, so as simple as the design is on the back of these shirts, actually the C and the M, there was loads, just so much of different design ideas. I would doodle myself, try and figure it out, and then I'd ask them if they could in their spare time. And a lot of my friends just love just drawing and stuff. So it was great to have that kind of a resource readily available. It was incredible. And then once I narrowed down the top like 3 or 4, I went around to some other people that didn't even know about the idea, just asking them, hey, there's some new logos coming out. What do you think of this? Which one of these sticks out the most? And so I would just tally it off of that again, and then I'd kind of reorganize my information once more. And then once I found one that really sticked, I just proceeded on going to get it digitized, I guess, put into a computer. And then from there, I just could pretty much do anything with it. Well, with the tent that we originally had, we actually just upgraded to a trailer now. But the original tent was a 10 by 10 tent, which in Aberdeen is roughly the size of a living room in a 2-bedroom apartment, which is what I was living in at the time. So because I knew that information, one day my roommate got kind of upset about this, but I took all of our furniture and just moved it into our rooms and just opened up the whole living room and measured it out. And then step by step, I knew the length of the tables, I knew the length of the deep freezer we used, I knew what materials we needed, and I just kind of laid things out to kind of fit that. And then once I did that, I would invite some people over. Amanda came over, I'm pretty sure, as well as a couple other friends, and I lined 4 people up in the booth and just had them move around, just walk in a circle, walk randomly, just to see how it would react with the space. And if it was too cramped, I'd move stuff out just a little bit more, and then we'd try it again. So just kind of through a process of trial and error, I came up with the more or less exact setup. It's still really flexible, but the best setup for the operation. And as for the positions, really we have a couple different terms, I guess, when it comes to doing it. With the smaller events we've had, such as the Lake City one, we are able to do what we call a 3-man. So essentially, everybody gets their own job plus a third of another job. So we're always, the most flexible position is the person taking the money. So whenever one of us had time, whenever we could get to it, we'd be able to step up and help the next person in line. So we could keep it flowing a little bit better. I mean, that's really how it becomes an efficient business too. But most of the time for the Sturgis Rally, which is our last really big event coming up, we're going to have to 4-man that, and each person then has their own specific job detail. There's going to be the person that's in charge of the money up front, getting people to come in, keeping a good conversation with them, building a rapport. And then the next really crucial position is the person that's actually doing the cooking, the person that's washing the cookie dough, making sure that it doesn't burn, making sure that it's cooked properly. Then the next person would be the drop. So it'd be the person collecting the cookie dough, battering it up, getting it in the pot, and making sure that we don't fall behind on dishes, on batter, because all that thing is, they're crucial. If you get a rush, I mean, with this kind of a job, you have to be prepared for 2 situations. there's going to be the flood, where no matter what you do, you're never going to have enough supplies ready, but you're going to try and just batter it back as much as possible. And then there's going to be the times where it's just a trickle. And even then, it's still crucial to make sure that you're ready, because especially on those times where it's trickling, that's when you have to absolutely maximize everything. You have to ask the questions that you might not normally ask. Do you want that extra bottle of water? Do you have a family member with you that would like to try this? Just kind of get it out there and really sell the product. And then the last position that's equally as important is the topping station, and that's just the person that's going to be in charge of picking it up from the cooker when he says it's time to go. Pick it up, read the order, put it on there. I mean, it's pretty simple, but still at the same time, people don't really like getting what they didn't order.
I think it helps that we're all just really good friends. There's 4 of us total that'll be at Sturgis. But it's just kind of a mutual, hey, if there's something that needs to get done, one of us will just go ahead and do it because it needs to get done. There's no, well, I did it last time, it's your turn. There's just kind of a mutual respect and understanding of getting it all done.
We're all really interchangeable. The most important thing that I wanted to be able to do too is everybody, aside from being really trustworthy that's in this group, we're all interchangeable. I wanted to make sure that we could move from one position to another so that one person isn't stuck on. I mean, to be honest, nobody really wants to be on a fryer all day. Nobody really wants to be dropping all day doing that one job. Every now and then people want to get up front and talk to people. I mean, it's a fun thing to do. So on that aspect, yeah, definitely. It's all really interchangeable. And I wanted it to be like that because for Sturgis, it's going to be hot, and you don't want to be stuck in the back of the trailer all day. When it comes to a customer, especially to food, you treat them as if they were a guest in your house. I guess is the best way. You want them to feel welcomed, and you want them to leave feeling better than what they did when they first got there. That's the big thing. And building rapport, as I had mentioned earlier, is just kind of a fancy way of saying, hey, let them know what you're doing and see what they're doing. You never know who you'll meet that way. I've met actually people that have known my family that I had no idea who they were, but as soon as I told them my name and told them where I was from, oh, well, I know where that's at. I know you. I've seen you when you were just 5 years old. So, I mean, that I think is a really important process in getting to know the customers, really. And at the same time, when you build that rapport too, a lot of these people, when we were at the events like Fort Sisseton, the Eden Centennial, the Lake City Centennial, all those people are in the exact same area. So building a good rapport also at the same time has an extra added kind of bonus feature, because those same people then will come back around because they know you, they've heard of you, and if they did build a good rapport with you, they're going to want to come back. For an entrepreneurial venture, this is a really low risk thing, which is great, because being in college, we can't have a lot of risk. As for the business-wise, yeah, it's definitely going to pencil out. Right now with the smaller events around here, like I said, if I were to redo it, there's different ways I would do that. These ones, they all paid for themselves. Everybody all got a cut, which was good. But most of the funds for right now are being channeled back into business just to pay for the equipment we purchased earlier on, and to pay for the events. So as for Sturgis, the number of people that we're going to see from what I've seen so far, each event we've gotten more signage, more signs, more flair, I guess, to let people know who we are and what we're about. And that's increased business. We've seen more people at each event too. That naturally increases business. With the Sturgis traffic, what people will tell you there, or what I've heard from people from contacting them, it's all about location, location, location. Somehow I got lucky enough to get into a really prime location. It cost us a little bit more, but I believe it will pay off in the long run. I mean, at Sturgis during a slow year, they'll have about anywhere from 50 to 60,000 people circulate through that town on a daily basis. This is coming up on the 74th, which is another great reason to do this year. Next year is the 75th, and I plan to be back in Sturgis next year, where you're going to see the population jump per day, multiply. I mean, it's times 2, times 3, the same amount of people. So I think Sturgis will definitely be where we pay it off. You know, we have that one big event, that's really what I wanted. That will make it all worthwhile for this first year. And then next year, implement some of the other ways to do this. At the beginning of the year, I guess I'll start with that. There was actually only one event. It was the Sturgis Rally. I figured I'd put all the chips on that. It's a low risk. If it doesn't pan out, I know I'll be close to the number, the break-even point that I need to make this business, you know, not a failure. And then as you know, we got closer to summer, through a series of fortunate events, I guess, I got accepted into these other events that I had previously missed, but the people from around these areas said, well, this is such a unique idea, such a unique product that we want up there. So I got into those 3 events that I mentioned earlier on the east side of the state. Then I got into downtown Friday nights in Spearfish, South Dakota, which was really, really great. As to where this business could go, I mean, the sky's the limit. This could be something that's just a flash in the pan. The main goal behind this is to try and put a dent or pay off student loans. That's the big thing. All of us that are in this, we're in our last either year or 2 years of college. You know, it's getting really real for us. We see that loan bar going a little bit up and up and up, and this is just something that'll get to knock it down. It could go anywhere from the next 2 or 3 years with this, or it could actually expand and become a lot more. I'm already getting offers actually to travel outside of the state. There's some ladies that came down from North Dakota that wanted me to go up there. I guess there's some sort of festival or event going on in Fargo during the summer, and they want me up there. And then there's another smaller suburb of Fargo that wants me to go up there as well for another event. And I haven't accepted these yet, just because I don't know enough of the information to just jump right in blindly. There's some factoring that goes on. But as for expansion, definitely. I think if you're going to start to really make serious money with this, if it's going to be more than just a 1 or 2 year event, you need to really focus on making that dynasty name, just going for it and building off.
You really can't put a price on the experience that this is giving us, because this is great. Every time I think about, like, oh, my friend Calvin, yeah, he just started his own business just for a summer. I just get pumped every time I say that. No one really gets like the experience that you get, like when Calvin and I drive down to Spearfish. Obviously, like, road tripping is fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Other times it's not so fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just kind of just get excited when you show up. And you start setting up. This side of the business side is creating your own thing, your own name. Why you're separate from other people is something that I'm learning a lot more about, and making yourself more marketable. And I don't know, Calvin's really good insight onto that, and he's helped me out a lot on that.
I'm a trumpet major. I hope to perform on trumpet. And I know Calvin and I have had this talk with our professor many times, because he likes to tell us that entrepreneurship is part of playing the trumpet, and through playing trumpet you will learn entrepreneurship. And it really is true, because I know, like, as a performer, in a year I'm done with college and I've got to figure out how am I going to get that gig? How am I going to go out and network and make everything happen? And so you kind of learn how to market yourself, you learn how to relate to people, how to talk to people. With this, the Cookie Monsters, it's living the whole, okay, this is a real business. It's not theoretical, it's not hypothetical, like just something you're discussing in the classroom. It's all very, very real. And with trumpet playing, it's also, you got to work at it. You need to practice, and you figure out how best to do things. And like, I spend a lot of time in the practice room, because you got to work things out. If you don't understand it right away, you can't play it right away the way that you want to, you keep working at it, you keep getting better, and you keep finding ways to improve that. So then I guess that kind of just translates with this, because you want to give people the best experience possible. And so, like, through every gig that we've done with this so far, it's okay. Like Calvin said at the beginning, we sit down, what worked, what went really well, what didn't go so well, what can we do better tomorrow?
Being a musician, if you're going to go pro with it, if that's what you're going to do, that's what you're the most passionate about, it all comes down to how you can market yourself. I mean, musicians naturally are all entrepreneurs, whether they know it or not. Every one of us has a different sort of attribute has a different stylistic performance that we can do. And Dr. Manhart, I mean, he is really good about helping us find that one particular thing that makes us us. Because believe it or not, I mean, there are things that I can do that Amanda can't do. And on the reverse, there's a lot of things that she can do that I can't do. And I mean, we could try to do the same thing, but there's always some sort of a life experience. There's always some sort of a small detail that separates us from that. And thus, with the cookie dough, kind of like she said too, this is a great way to practice this business right now. Practice how you can be more entrepreneurial, how you can be more effective at what you do. Practice your people skills and your communication, because communication inside the business world is also, one of the most key things. After the first step, it's just been kind of like a snowball effect. It's just rolling. Different ideas, just yesterday I was with Amanda. We were driving around Aberdeen, and a brand new way to approach this whole business side just started to come out of my mouth, just started to happen. And then as soon as I was done talking what I thought was nonsense, I just stopped and I listened to myself in my head again, and wow, that actually makes sense. Where did that even come from? So the experience is just growing on all of us. So I guess that's what I'm taking it from it right now. I mean, the experience is great, and it's just growing.
And the educational aspect has been amazing as well. Like, you learn so many different things that go into the business that you don't think about otherwise. So you learn about all the different licenses you have to get, all the different requirements you have to meet, all the deadlines that you have to meet. And then it's figuring out, okay, how are we going to set this up? How are we going to do this? And figuring out the most efficient ways for everything. So I guess for me, that's been huge. It's just seeing and experiencing all the tiny little details that you don't really think about for businesses.
Like we said earlier, I do want this to make a lot of money. This is something that I want to see build and grow. So taking the initiative to really put yourself out there, to really learn. If there's something you don't know, attack that with everything. Try and figure out, how do I do this? What do I do? Where do I go next? And then go the next step. What do I do after that step? And then you can better prepare yourself for, okay, if this happens, that's fine. I already got it covered.
Just kind of doing it and making those mistakes and learning from it is the biggest thing. Like, every single thing that you do throughout the process is something that you're going to learn from. And I guess for me, it's a lot easier when you see that bigger picture in mind. So our big goal this year was Sturgis, and it's perfecting it so that we can make as much money as possible there and have the best experience that we can. So all the little mistakes, like showing up 2 days early to the very first gig, all those little things, they're hilarious at the time. Like, we laugh about it now, but it's like just those little things that happen, but you have that bigger picture in mind, so it's easier to see how it'll fit together in the end.
How do we teach ourselves in the midst of this? I feel like we just went head in and embraced everything that we could, and we just learned, because I think we're all pretty quick learners, and we all came out on top of it. It looks really positive right now from where we're sitting, and it's been a great experience so far. We're not even halfway through it.